So today's lesson is lesson number 74. We're going to continue talking about ellipses. Remember, those are just like, it's a fancy name for ovals, right? We learned the word oval in like kindergarten. It's on a popsicle stick. It's an Ollie the oval or whatever. So now we call them ellipses because we're sophisticated high school students. We're going to talk about these thing called foci, or some people will say foci. If you are just watching the video online, I encourage you to go to these sites. Meanwhile, in class, we're going to look at them right now. All right, so you guys should already have these written down. These are the steps for identifying the foci, or the focus points that we saw in the video, how she used the focus points there, and then on that GeoGebra little presentation, okay? So this is how we would find them. The first thing you're going to do is identify if the major axis is horizontal or vertical. It's horizontal exactly when the number that goes with the x is bigger, right? So if A is bigger than B, it's going to be stretched more horizontally. If B is bigger than A, it's going to be stretched more vertically, so we say the major axis is vertical. Okay, you would then use one of these two equations to find c squared. And then the square root of that is c. That's the distance that you add or subtract from the center to find the focus points. Up here, remember, is the equation of an ellipse from yesterday that you guys talked about. So A goes with x, B goes with y, so whichever one's bigger, that's the way it's going to stretch. So this example down here would have a major axis that's horizontal. So the A would be bigger, so we do a squared minus b squared to get c squared, and then whatever that c distance is, I'm going to go to the right and left to mark my focus points, or foci. Foci, faux show. Okay, so we all had these steps written down then, right? Okay, I'm going to move on to our first two examples. All right, so number one, I'm looking at A and B first. Okay, I know A is bigger. Okay, so pencils down, you're looking up here. A is bigger, right? 49 is bigger than 16, so A squared is bigger than B squared, which means A is going to be bigger, right? I know A is 7 then, so B is 4, right? Taking the square root of those. So I'm going to go ahead and plot those points, right? I have my center just at 0, 0. My A is 7, so I go 7 in either direction in the x. And then my B is 4, so I stretch it that way in the y. 4 units, and I connect them to make my ellipse. Now I'm going to look for c squared, so I'm using the top equation because this has a horizontal major axis. So I do 49 minus 16, that gives me 33. Which means my c is just the square root of 33. Okay, just like how I find a and b by taking the square roots of those. Now I take the square root of my the difference of them. And that tells me how far I need to go to plot my focus points from the center. So I go on the major axis, which here we said is horizontal. I go c units to the right and then c units to the left. So I go root 33. That's between 5 and 6, right? It's pretty close to 6, right? So I put about like 5.5. It's probably really a little closer than that. So I went root 33 units this way, and now I'm going to go root 33 units this way. Okay, so those, that was the distance of C. This is my other point. And then I would write out these ordered pairs. So I would say my foci are located at root 33, comma 0, and negative root 33, comma 0. Okay, so just like we use a squared to go a distance a, and then b squared to go our distance b. Now we're going to find c squared by subtracting them. Whichever one's bigger, you do first, and then you subtract the smaller one. The number you have left, that's like your c squared. Square root of that tells you how far to go for your focus points. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and look at number 2. So pencil's still down, looking at number 2. My center for number 2 is not at 0, 0 anymore. It's at 3, 0, right? So 3, 0 is here. I'm looking at how far am I stretching in the x direction, how far am I stretching in the y direction. So A is root 10, B is root 45, which we could say is the same as 9 times 5, so that's 3 root 5. This is times. Okay. So I already plotted these 2 points. So from the center of 3, 0, I went A units to the right and left. So root 10 is a little bit more than 3. So I went 1, 2, 3, and a little bit more. And then 1, 2, 3, and a little bit more to plot my farthest x points. And then B is root 45. That's going to be between 36 and 49, right? So it's between 6 and 7. So I'm going to go about 6.5 units up and 6.5 units down from my center to plot those points. Okay, and then I'll sketch my ellipse. An ellipse. There's the sand. That's my favorite part. Okay, so that's my ellipse. Now I want to look at the focus points. Okay, so this up to this point you did yesterday, right? We could do this? Okay. So now step 2 is I'm going to look at my A and B, or A squared and B squared, and subtract them. Whichever one's bigger I put first. So in this case, the one with the y is bigger, so it's B squared, which makes sense, right? In my graph I see the major axis is vertical, right? Major axis is vertical, so I'm in this case. So I do 45 minus 10. That gives me 35, which means that C is the square root of 35. Okay, 35 is just barely less than 36, so it's just barely less than 6. I go along my major axis, which again is vertical, so I go 6 units up, 6 units down for my focus points, for my foci. Okay, now I can label those points. I went in my x direction, I'm at 3. Then I went up root 45, or up 3 root 5, and down 3 root 5. So my points are going to be 3, comma, square root of 30. Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at the B. So C is square root of 35. So I went over 3, up square root of 35, over 3, down square root of 35 to get these points. So 3 root 35 and 3 root negative root 35 would be the coordinates for those. All right, any questions just from looking at 1 and 2? Okay, I want you guys, I'm going to back it up, so pause wherever you're writing. Okay, we don't need to be writing yet. Pause wherever you're at, and you're going to explain with your partner. So 1's explain number 1, and then 2's walk them through number 2. Okay, so 1's are talking. All right, so then for number 3, what you're going to be doing here is same thing. So in class, I had the students identify A, B, and C on their own. So take a second and see if you can do that. Test yourself. If you are just watching the video now, so you get A is equal to 4, B is 2, and then to find C squared, you do 16 minus 4, and that gives you 12. So C is square root of 12, or 2 root 2 root 3. Okay, graphing the ellipse, I put the center at 0, 0. I go 4 units in either x direction, and then 2 units in the y direction, up and down. And I can graph my ellipse. The 2 foci are right there because root 12, I go root 12 units from to the right and to the left from the center point. So root 12 is 2 root 3. Or if I think about root 12 as being between root 9 and root 16, so square root of 12 is between 3 and 4, about 3.5 maybe, so that's where I plotted those points. Okay, so they are 2 root 3 comma 0 and negative 2 root 3 comma 0. Those are the same as root 12 and negative root 12, but you would want to have the simplified answers for your ordered pairs here. Just to be a little neater, they are both correct, but the simplified version is nicer, and depending on your teacher or who's grading it, they'll want you to have the simplified answer. Okay, for number 4, same thing. We look at A, B, and C. We get root 24 for C, which simplifies to 2 root 6. From the center at 0, 0, I go 1 unit in either direction in the X and 5 units in either direction in the Y. And sketch my ellipse, and then I go square root of 24, which is just about 5 units. I'm going to go that many units up and down from the center since my major axis is vertical here. And that will give me, that will give me 0, 2 root 6 and 0, negative 2 root 6 for my foci on number 4. Okay, if you want some more practice, go ahead and try to do numbers 5 and 6. Here my center for number 5 is going to be negative 1, 0. Okay, so right here, my A is 2, B is 7, so I go 2 units in either direction in the X, 7 units in either direction in the Y, and I would sketch my ellipse. And then the foci, I would look at C squared equal to 49 minus 4, which is 45, so C equals the square root of 45. Or I can think of that as 3 root 5. Square root of 45 is almost square root of 49, so it's close to 7 but not quite there. So my focus points would be about here. And the ordered pairs for those would be, I'm at negative 1 now on my X, so it's be careful to remember if your center is not at 0, 0, that's going to change these coordinates a little bit. So I'm at negative 1, 3 root 5, and then negative 1, negative 3 root 5 for my 2 foci on number 5. Okay, and that's all for today's lesson. Thank you.